Welcome back to the State and Local Sports Show here with Mark Tennis of Cal High Sports, the co-founder and editor. We're doing our second remote episode here. We're from the Cal High Sports office in Stockton, California. This week, Mark does a weekly column for us in the Record and RecordNet.com. He's talking about high school sports coaches, successful ones who are great players themselves in high school and possibly beyond. What did you unearth in terms of coaches in this area?
Well, I mean, when you look at it, first of all, easily you come up with players like guys like Reggie Camp from Bear Creek, who was in the NFL. Latef Grimm was a great player in high school and a great player in college. He's from Chavez, of course, football. But the one I was kind of focusing on was Janie McHugh, the head coach of volleyball at St. Mary's. And the reason that her resume is real interesting, a lot of people around here may not know, she's in the National High School Sports Hall of Fame as an athlete from what she did in Colorado. And it's kind of amazing when you read all her exploits. She's really kind of a legend in Colorado. And I'm just kind of curious. I haven't spoken to her yet this week, but kind of curious how if she relates to her kids, some of her stories of what she did when she was in high school and things like that. So I think that's kind of an interesting topic because I'm not sure there's a head coach in California at any school who is actually in the National Hall of Fame as an athlete like she is.
Yeah, also an All-American and Olympian, too, so pretty incredible career. For St. Mary's football fans, a result that might be pretty desirable last Friday is in a Sierra Foothill League game, Folsom beat Del Oro 42-7. Of course, Folsom was upset by Sacramento High earlier this season. That'll probably be a Division II playoff team. This could, down the line, if Folsom wins out in their league and Del Oro does not win their league, that could push Del Oro into a Division II bracket, which would mean one less really good team for St. Mary's to potentially have to face in the playoffs. What are your impressions having seen these teams now?
Well, I mean, the good news, if you're a St. Mary's fan, is that Del Oro may not be in Division One anymore. But kind of the bad news is Folsom looked really, really good, and they are the four-time defending champions. And they look like they're the type of team where if they keep playing like that, they're going to be very difficult to beat. If you compare them to St. Mary's, I think Folsom has a lot more depth, a lot more weapons on their offense. On the offensive side of the ball, they were going with a wildcat quarterback in some snaps with a kid named Caden Bennett. Of course, they had Joe Curry who's throwing the ball. They used their two guys were catching passes, sort of like tight ends, Brad Jenner and Ariel Nagata. And they have another great set of skilled receivers led by Drake Stallworth. A lot of good running backs, 2 or 3 different running backs. So they had a lot of weapons, a lot of depth. St. Mary's advantage, if the two were to play, I would say would be up front. St. Mary's has definitely an advantage with their size and power. Popo, Amavai, Salmon and Norgard and some of the other linemen that the Rams have, I think would give them an advantage. So obviously it'd be a great game, and we have a long way to go before those two actually perhaps play each other. But those were my impressions. Del Oro really needs to step it up where they can get to that level. They made some turnovers, and even if they played perfectly, it would have been difficult, I think, for them to beat Folsom on that particular night.
Now, the Record in the past month, we brought back a weekly preps page, a high school sports-only page that is on Thursdays. This week, I'm doing a feature on the 5 area female football players on varsity rosters. We have 2 from Franklin, 1 each from Lodi, Tokay, and Weston Ranch. And I know that Cal High Sports, through its history and its record book, you saw the beginnings of this in a very far-off northern section town in the early 70s.
Yeah, I mean, the first report that my late uncle, Nelson Tennis, ever came up with for a girl playing football in high school was a girl at a small town and way up in Northern California called Portola, and her name was Tony Eller, and she played in 1973. So there were probably at some small towns, small schools in the early 70s reports of a girl here and there playing football, actually playing and not kicking. The first girl that scored in a game was in 1984, and the first girl that ever scored a touchdown in a California varsity game was in 1995. And of course, a lot of the girls that are on varsity rosters nowadays are kickers, but there are more and more of them who aren't. And there was just, I think, some video the other day of some girls making tackles on special teams. They're knocking guys down and doing a great job. Just, we wouldn't know that there was a female playing out there. So they continue to make strides, and a lot of them are continuing to play more demanding positions.
Yeah, a couple of these players, one of them from Franklin is on the kickoff team. I believe it's called the gunner position, which is on the very edge. She's a safety. There's a slot receiver from Weston Ranch, a defensive lineman from Tokay. I believe it's a cornerback from Lodi. So a lot of real football going on there. This week, I'd say not just the biggest team in our biggest game in our coverage area, but probably in the area code is Manteca visiting Central Catholic. Manteca unbeaten in VOL play. Central Catholic 4-time defending state champion. I like Manteca here. I just think their roster balance is a little bit better, and they have that extra edge of not having won a section title in a couple of years and never having won a state title, while Central Catholic has had a bunch of both recently.
Yeah, I think Manteca probably is the team to beat. They look like they're at a much higher level than they've been last year, and more closer to the level they were, the team that lost to Enterprise in the bowl game. Maybe even better than that. We have to wait and see. The big question is of course, when Central Catholic played St. Mary's, there were all those players that didn't play in the first half, contributed to be a 49-0 score. So there's a little bit of mystery as to which Central Catholic team might show up. They played very well in the second half of their loss to Cathedral Catholic of San Diego, the number 1 team in the San Diego section and top 10 team in the state right now. So if they were to play in this as well as they did in the second half, when they came back a little bit on Cathedral Catholic in that second half, and play that way for a full game against Manteca, that could be a really, really good game. We'll just have to see. I think Manteca does have the edge, but there's some questions there.
The specific advantage I like for Manteca is Central Catholic's defense likes to throw 8 guys in the box to stop the run, which has been Manteca's forte. But they have a capable quarterback in Gino Campiotti, and they got really fast guys on the edges in Jose Garcia and Joel Olmo. So I think little screen and swing passes could really do some damage with the way Central Catholic likes to play defense. Now, Cali Sports, the Gold Club membership, less than $20 a year, less than $2 a month. It's all of your insider content, stories, rankings, record books. So that's a great deal. And Mark, I usually say thanks for joining us, but it's been a pleasure to join you here.
Well, thank you for making the trip. Saved me from going down there this week. Thank you very much.